You like the music, you guys?
Is it a party in here?
Yeah.
Get down with your bad self. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We're trying to have fun this morning, you guys. We're talking about college. Woo! Going off to school. There's so many kids, embarking on a new and weird chapter in their lives. U of O classes start next week. Oregon State started this week. It's a weird time. A lot of those classes are online. Some of them are in person. You got COVID happening.
Yeah, it's the pandemic's fault.
Yeah. So we're talking all things college. Whatever you guys want to.
Oh, look at that. The families are helping them move into the dorms.
Brenda, you were saying you remember like the exact moment.
Oh, that's not right. I don't remember that happening when I went to school.
Test, yeah?
Oh my goodness gracious.
You have to have a negative result.
COVID test in front of a trained observer before you can get in. And yeah, you do need
You don't get your keys to the dorm until it's negative.
Exactly. I remember my very first day at the University of Portland. Drove up in my little red Datsun with my parents in their big old, we called it the tuna boat. It was a green Chrysler. 1981, driving up to the campus and moving into Mailing Hall.
Wow.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I went to the University of Boulder my freshman year. And flew there. I had all my stuff, mailed in boxes and unpacked it. And my parents came with me and helped me, set up the dorm room. And I had a roommate who was a pro skier, and she was there to go to school half the time and then ski the rest from the East Coast. And so it was just a totally different experience, meeting people from all over the place there. And I had such a blast.
Yes. I brought one of my prized
possessions. My dad yanked me out of there, and I had to go to U of O my sophomore year.
I had too much fun.
Yeah.
Is that different than University of Colorado at Boulder? Is University of Boulder different?
University of Colorado Boulder.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry.
I brought one of my prized possessions with me.
What?
It's a drumstick that I caught at an REO Speedwagon concert.
You brought it to your dorm room?
I did. I put it up on the wall with a poster or something. I can't remember. Yeah. Me and my roommate, Julie Fleckle.
Where is old Fleckle these days, you think?
She was in ROTC and she was a nurse and she served in the Persian Gulf, the first one. And yeah. But I'm not sure where Julie is. If you guys know where Julie is, have her get in touch.
Right.
Julie. Rodney is next, but first, going back to that concert, where did you catch the drumstick? Where was REO Speedwagon performing when you caught their drumstick, Brenda?
Memorial Coliseum.
Oh,
that
cool.
was the big venue back in the day. Yep, and we pushed our way toward the front.
Nice.
Rod, you want to share your Stone Age college days with us?
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Oh,
what? University of Missouri. Such a blast. I remember I had 3 beers, and then literally I don't remember anything else about my 4 years there.
Lightweight
That's it.
first day.
Goodness.
3 beers. That's it, really.
That is funny.
All right.
That's it.
I thought maybe you could skip me since I am the only one, I believe, of the 3 who actually did not live on campus during his college years.
Did you live with Mama?
Well, if you want to put it that way, Nina, I'm going to say no. I did live with my mother.
It's a little sensitive still.
No, that's what we did. In an effort to, save money for the family. How about I paint it that way?
Yeah,
In an effort to
totally.
save money for the family, I lived at home. I
That's
sacrificed.
legit.
I went to Temple, which was literally in Philadelphia, which was literally 20 minutes in the car, in traffic from where we lived. So it was kind of an easy commute. Went back and forth. Yes. Those were my college days.
I feel like you still got into more trouble than the 3 of us combined living at home. I've heard some of those stories.
The trouble began for me really freshman year of high school. I didn't have to wait to college to get into trouble. It was freshman year of high school. But anyways, it is obviously different. We're hoping that you not only chime in about your nostalgia, your college days, but also if you know someone who's going through college right now, how it is different. Because I'll tell you right now, when we showed that video of the student with the COVID test, my eyes actually started to water when that Q-tip was going up the nose. I mean, I literally felt my eyes watering.
Yeah. For these college freshmen, because and today we should find out, if Pac-12 football is going to get going here in October versus after January 1st. So stay tuned, today for that. Pac-12 commissioners are meeting today, but you don't get those experiences of, really walking on campus to classes and figuring out, where is my room, and going to those fall football games. Hopefully, they can figure out a safe way to do that, but they're just going to miss out on so much.
Well, they are, but hopefully if everybody toes the line right now, we can get out of this sooner than later, because we have seen, schools across the country, when they go back to school, things spike, and then some of those kids ended up in quarantine in various places, and it's just a big old mess.
Jennifer Taft, one of our contributors on the
Jennifer.
Sunrise Extra stream, a constant contributor, if you will. I believe she's drawing a comparison now that I've revealed that I actually lived at home during my 4 years of college to save money. She says she's drawing.
Wait, you lived there all 4 years?
Well, 4.5, but who is counting, Nina? Who is counting? It took me an extra semester to get the degree. My second semester at Temple, second semester, 0.8 GPA, 0.8. I did a 3.2 my first semester. That was awesome.
What?
Fall of 92.
0.8?
Yes.
How's that even
I'll tell you how it's possible. I'll rattle through it real quickly. 3.2 the fall semester. This is easy. College is great. Next semester, I go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take classes only on Tuesday and only on Thursday. I'll take a full load, but they're going to be from the start of the day on Tuesday to the very end. And then I won't even worry about school the other 5 days of the week. And I did not worry about school those other 5 days of the week. I pulled, it was 2 incompletes, 2 failures, and a C. And the only reason I got a C, I showed up on campus because I knew I was in a lot of trouble. And when I was walking through campus to go to the administrator's office to talk about what am I going to do to save my college career, I saw 2 kids from one of the classes, and they're like, dude, where have you been? Enjoying myself. They're like, we have a final today. I said, we do. So I circled with them and went to the final, took it, and passed. I got a C in that class.
Wow.
But the rest I got a 2 Fs and a 2 incompletes, a 0.8. Went on probation, never even got close to that again, graduated. I could not get it back up to a 3, unfortunately. I think I finished with a 2.9 something. But that's a hard hole to dig out of.
See, kids, that's all you need to get into TV. It's not hard.
You didn't I just shouldn't even gone to college.
You did all right.
Thank you.
But
what I was starting to say
What
is
does
Jennifer Taft
say?
she was comparing my mom and myself to Norman Bates and his mother.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, the line here, now I lost it. She says, Norman, you're a good boy. Sorry, Drew.
That's so creepy.
How about that? Dawn Kimlinger, she also contributes quite frequently to the Sunrise Extra stream. She says, I had a roommate freshman year. She did a 0.8 GPA both semesters and flunked out. See, that's the difference in the world. You have those who get a 0.8 and flunk out and call it quits, and you have others who say, you know what, it's time to turn things around. Let's get going.
Yeah.
This is your come to Jesus meeting. That's good. Usually somebody else has to impose that. But
Jesus was my religious studies professor my sophomore year.
Oh my gosh. Who else is chiming in? I need to put on my glasses.
Katie is.
Wow.
Katie Abigail Bassett is chiming in this morning. Good morning, Katie.
Yeah.
She says, I was in marching band and color guard in college. I couldn't imagine my college days with not... Oh, so is Rod. That's right.
That's right.
She says, I couldn't imagine my college days with not being able to attend the football games and the fun rehearsals with my band and color guard. Those are my best memories from school. Thank you for sharing those memories this morning, Katie.
Yeah.
I was on the school newspaper, The Beacon at the University of Portland.
Huh.
I think I've told this story before, but Jackie was the features editor. I was the news editor, not the editor of the entire paper, just the little news section. And occasionally we would skip those boring, I think they were Thursday meetings, and go down to Huber's. For Spanish
You liked Huber's even back then.
Exactly.
That is
What
fun.
What else is a girl gonna do?
Her and her Spanish coffees.
Love.
Oh, man.
That semester where I fell apart, second semester freshman year, I did meet a girl, and we kind of became somewhat serious over the next 4 or 5 years, like the most serious girlfriend I had back then at the time. And that was part of the reason. I just sort of was more interested in her than I was in school. I had a point there. Junior year, I remember walking around, still kind of lost, not really knowing what I'm doing. Now I'm going to class and I'm starting to pass, but I don't really know why I'm at school or what I'm going to do for the future. And she's the one who said, hey, we should go, don't you want to get into broadcasting? Why don't you go and there's a college radio station right here on campus. You should be there doing something. So I did, and I ended up becoming the play-by-play voice of Temple University women's basketball.
Nice.
Yes, I was the voice of women's hoops.
You really pulled yourself up by
2
your
years,
bootstraps there. Howard Wright, off the top, was asking, what happened to these broadcasts on Instagram? Remember, Howard, long ago when I had to like hold it out on the stick? We don't do that anymore. So you just got to watch us. You found us here on Facebook, so I'm glad about that. Renee Robertson, she has one daughter going to OSU and one at Gonzaga. They're all doing online classes. Both girls are pretty bummed about that. Yeah, no kidding.
Hopefully it won't last long.
What do you think of this? James Ruport. Good morning, James. Says, poor kids making poor choices. College is not a great choice. He says, get into a trade, and he says this is coming from someone with a doctorate.
Wow. You know what? I kind of agree with him in this regard. Not every kid should go to college. Right? There are many things that they can do, and trade schools are one of them. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we need all of those people in our society.
100%.
So yes, I totally agree.
And then you have, the kids who came out of school back in 2008 and they couldn't find a job because of that, the Great Recession. So they've got all these fancy degrees and no job to go to.
Yeah.
I do think it's odd I've always thought it's odd to go to school without having a major. Like to be like undecided, you're just kind of going. I mean, I know you don't have to commit to something and then marry yourself to it necessarily, but if you're entering your junior year and you're still like, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to do it. It's like, man, that's a couple of years where maybe you could have been. I just feel like when you're there, you should be working towards a career goal, right? You're not just there for an education, which is important, but I also feel like you're there to get to a career so that you can earn a living and move on. At least that's how I approached college.
No, that is.
Is it?
No, I would agree.
Is it how you approach college?
That's the reason I went there, because I thought I had to do something. I know I didn't approach it well the second semester that I was there, but I won't get too far down the road. But I remember thinking, like, looking at my mom's, like, I saw her paychecks. And I would look at those checks and go, oh my gosh, like, how do I make more than that? What do I need to do? And it was like, you got to go to school. You have to go to school, pick a career and go after it.
That was just never a question in my household because my mom didn't graduate high school. My dad didn't graduate college. He had a little bit, but I was the first one in my immediate family to go all the way through. And that was just like ingrained in me from the jump. Like I always knew I was going to go to college and go on to post-grad school too.
Right.
But it was a different time back then because it was expensive. I came out of school with about 10 grand in debt, and I thought that was astronomical back in 1985. Now kids come out with,
Tens of thousands.
I don't even want to think about it, depending on what kind of loans they get. It was just a different time. And I'm really grateful that I grew up when I did.
I always thought it was interesting too. Like it seems as though it's parents find it to be their responsibility to at least help their kids pay for college, which was kind of foreign to me because that never even came up once. Like I never expected it. I never thought for a second that my mom would or could pay for the college. It was like, you want to go, you're gonna have to pay for it some way, somehow, take out loans. And like you said, Brendan, when I was all done, my loans were not the astronomical numbers you see today. But I kind of left there, went through my 20s, got married, started having kids. I kept thinking to myself, like, that's not my responsibility. That's going to be theirs if they decide to go to college. Now I'm starting to rethink it, but it's a little late in the game because they're 13 years old now already. But I've just always felt like, why is it supposed to be the parents' responsibility to pay for the schooling?
Yeah, if you're able, that's a great thing to do.
I guess, but how many people are able to fork out that kind of money? I mean, that's a lot of money.
Not many at all. A lot of kids, too, are taking a gap year. I didn't even know what a gap year was back in the day, but my daughter took one. If they don't really know what they want to do right off the bat, I do think that there are some service and work opportunities with some of those programs. And maybe it's not even an official program, but I mean, to your point, Drew, trying to figure out where you want to go, because at 17, who really knows?
Right.
We declared, I was a business major when I started at University of Portland. I hated business. I got hooked up with communications and knew that was for me, but I didn't know coming right out of high school.
What did you major in, Rod? You've done so many different things.
Well, my first year was political science, and I still have an interest in politics, but I ended up in broadcasting, and thinking back, I don't really remember the second that I decided, let's go into broadcast communications, but I link it to the fact that all the way through high school, I was in all the plays and the musicals, and I played trombone, and I'd always been performing, and ending up in broadcasting kind of took advantage of my experience of being on stage, so to speak.
Right.
But we're in a studio, but we're basically on stage. So I think that what I did in high school ended up basically feeding in to the decision I finally ended up making in school, if that makes sense.
Just want to point out, bringing it back to the pandemic, Rod, you're no longer even in the studio. You're in your house. But yeah, still on stage nonetheless.
Yes.
Crazy times these are.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to make some sort of official announcement about you rejoining us here shortly?
I was just going to ask that. Yeah, sure.
Because I won't say anything if I'm not supposed to.
Well,
We are, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm told. Well, I'll take the heat. But our boss. We had a meeting last week, and if nothing changes, I will be in my home studio here in Vancouver next week. But then the following week, that first Monday in October, I
5th?
will be back to normal
Yay,
in the KGW
we are
studio
so
with all of
excited.
you. Now, and it may not happen. So the boss asked me, Rod, what was your GPA in college? So I told him it was way above 0.8. And then he said, oh, you can come back.
Oh.
You are
So,
something.
did we all reveal since we're all hammering now, the one that I revealed, do you guys remember your GPAs? Do you want to share them? Are you embarrassed by them because they're so high or so low?
No, I remember I graduated because it said
I
it
ended
on
up
the
with a
diploma.
3.4 was my
3.4,
final
that's
graduating
good.
GPA. 3.4.
Good.
What's magna cum laude? Is that 3.5? 3.75?
Something I'm not familiar with,
I
unfortunately.
can't remember. It's something like that. It was many moons ago. I like this. Are you
I
going
knew
to
Brenda
share,
was gonna be
Nina?
that
Are you
overachiever.
plus
I knew
3
it.
or sub 3 with me, Nina?
She's a plus.
Well, in
3.
high school, I ended up with a 4 point.
Yeah.
I was a
Ooh.
good student. And
I was too.
that's why freshman year,
The rebellion
didn't
was
go
on.
so great. And I got like a 2.5. My first semester at Boulder.
Oh.
And my dad said, I'm not going to pay out-of-state tuition to send you there for crappy grades. You need to get a cumulative 3.5 to stay.
Wow.
And that is like, perfect straight A's the
Yeah.
second semester in order to get that up. So I got it to like a 3.3 and it wasn't good enough. And so I went kicking and screaming to U of O, where I knew, all my high school friends and everyone from Portland was already there, and it just seemed boring and like whatever to me. And so I kept transferring my grades back to Boulder my whole sophomore year at U of O. And then finally I was like, I'm going to because I just had a bad attitude. I didn't want to be there. And finally, everyone having fun around me, and they had already gone through freshman year rush and fraternities and all that stuff. And so I was like, I need to do a mental switch. And so I stopped transferring my grades, and I just got a better attitude, and then I had fun. So I
See?
stayed, obviously, at U of O.
And the final GPA.
the-
Oh, I don't
was-
know, like 3.5.
Ah,
I
you
think.
son of a gun.
Yeah.
That is the growth. of
I had a good
college.
boyfriend that was into, studying and stuff, and we were pretty good influences on each other.
That's nice.
Slightly dorky also, and so
That's nice.
it helped.
Yeah.
I like this. This is a comment from Francisco Mendez.
Yes.
I make almost $30 an hour with outstanding bennies working at Winco's distribution center in Woodburn, which is fantastic.
That's
it's a
great.
union job, and he says college was not for me. I love Winco. I
Yeah.
shop Winco.
My husband
One
at
of the
18 years old
stories.
or 17
I
moved
do
into
too.
a fire
Yeah.
station as a kid and lived at this fire station and learned everything, didn't go to college. He got an associate's degree at whatever it is, Rogue Community College or whatever that is, Douglas Community College, and finally got his bachelor's degree at 40 years old. And he makes more money than I do as a firefighter. And so, yeah, it goes to show you don't need, a college degree to get a great job like that. So,
A couple of comments at the tail end of the stream here from Neil Bailey, number 1, says 3.8 in high school.
Nice.
College dropout.
oh,
There was 2 comments there. You had to read both of those from
Yeah.
Neil to get the full story. John saying a piece of paper isn't jack without experience.
Oh, preach.
Yeah.
Neil called me a nerd too. Did you see that? He said,
I missed
Neil
that
said
comment.
Rod Hill was a nerd. In college, I guess he's talking about.
Yeah, well, look at him now.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't see a nerd today. I see the man. Rod's the man.
Jennifer wants to know,
man.
Rod, did you have your shoulder surgery?
Oh.
Tell her why. Because you're so awesome.
Oh. No, it really, I was supposed to, when I had 2 weeks vacation back in August, that was supposed to be my shoulder surgery time, and we ended up canceling it because it's just settled down. I went to a PT, and they put me through range of motion. They determined, sometimes these things do settle down, and it's okay right now. And then for the time being, I'm doing some exercises with it, but, knock on wood, I won't have to have surgery. But
Yeah, it's
but we'll
great.
see.
That is, are you going to tell him
Thank you for
why you
asking.
thought he didn't have surgery? Are we going to reveal that?
It was only one person who thought that. I
What?
thought. Was it? Did you think that too, Brenda?
Rod, we were on the, oh God, you guys. We were on the news conference call the day that you decided not to have your surgery, and you said it so oddly and quickly, and there was
Cryptically.
hushed silence afterwards that I thought for sure, because you had to take a COVID test before you went into the doctor's office to get your whatever checkup. And so
Well,
I was like, oh, I think
I-
he must have COVID or something. I mean, he's at home, so it's okay.
and I will tell you
Something.
this.
You thought the man had
I made
COVID.
the
You were so
decision.
weird
I made
about
the
it.
decision not to have the surgery before I did the COVID test. But I will say this: it did weigh on my mind because of COVID. Even though it's a routine surgery, things can go wrong.
Yeah.
And if something went wrong, was I going to be able to have my wife in my room with me all the time?
Sure.
And we did think about that. And if something should have gone wrong, then I was thinking this is not worth the risk of me not being able to have my daughter and my wife in my room with me all the time.
I'm
So
glad
actually,
it
that
worked
was something we considered.
Yeah, we should have a Sunrise Extra Confessions edition.
Oh, no.
I know exactly how we should do it too.
That we talk
How's
about
that?
behind the scenes, and then you guys can tell
Now,
us.
what we need to do is write down one of our worst confessions, something we would be embarrassed to admit. But we're going to go ahead and do it. We're going to write it down on a piece of paper without our names attached to them. And then we
Yours
will
to
share them with the
admit.
audience, and they will guess which confessions belong to which individuals.
Wow.
If you would like to see that edition of Sunrise Extra, let us know. Oh, we're wrapping up. I was going to give one more viewer comment.
The
Sorry,
king's
Willie Huey.
coming out.
Man, producer Rob and director Brian said, it's over.
Time. We've got to do the Today Show
Literally have to
cut-ins.
go. Bye, you guys. See you tomorrow.